Sarah had worked palace security for 6 years. She knew every protocol, every rule, every boundary that could never be crossed. The royal family lived in a world of tradition and order. Nothing happened without approval. Nothing happened without witnesses. Nothing happened without permission until tonight. She was reviewing the security. Footage from her station in the East Wing monitoring room. 12 screens flickered in front of her. Hallways, courtyards, service entrances. The same boring loops she watched every night. Guards standing still. Staff moving quietly. Royals appearing briefly, before disappearing behind closed doors. But then she saw something that made her freeze. Camera 7. The private garden entrance. 247 A.M. Prince William walked through the frame. Alone. No security detail. No advisors. No one. He was wearing dark clothing. A jacket with the hood pulled up. Jeans, sneakers, nothing royal about it. He looked like any other person trying not to be seen. Sarah leaned closer to the screen. Her heart started beating faster. This wasn't right. Royals didn't walk around alone, especially not in the middle of the night, especially not dressed like that. She watched as William glanced over his shoulder. Once, twice. Then he slipped through the garden gate and disappeared into the shadows. Sarah sat back in her chair. Her hands hovered over the keyboard. She should report this immediately. That was protocol. Any unusual activity involving a member of the royal family had to be logged and reported to the head of security within minutes. But something stopped her. If you're curious where this is going, hit that subscribe button now. You won't believe what happens next. She rewound the footage, watched it again. William's face was partially hidden by the hood, but she could see enough. The tension in his shoulders, the urgency in his movements, the way he kept checking behind him. He wasn't just going for a walk. He was sneaking out. Sarah checked the logs. No scheduled movements for Prince William after 11 p.m., no approved exits. No security escorts assigned. This was completely off book. She should call it in. She knew she should. But her fingers stayed frozen over the phone, because if she reported this, questions would be asked. Investigations would start. And William would know that someone had seen him. Someone had been watching, and for some reason, Sarah didn't want that to happen. Not yet. She made a decision. A dangerous one. She saved the footage to a secure drive. Then she deleted it from the main system. Just that one clip. 2 minutes and 34 seconds of Prince William sneaking out of the palace in the middle of the night. Gone. She told herself she was protecting him. That maybe he had a good reason. That maybe this was something innocent. A private matter. Something that didn't need to become a scandal. But deep down, she knew the truth. She had just broken every rule in her contract. She had tampered with evidence. She had covered for a royal, and if anyone ever found out, her career would be over. The next night, Sarah came back to work. She tried to focus on her screens, on her job, but her eyes kept drifting to camera 7. Waiting, watching. At 2:33 a.m., William appeared again. Same dark clothing. Same hooded jacket. Same nervous glances over his shoulder. He moved quickly through the garden and out the gate. Disappearing into the night like a ghost, Sarah's stomach dropped. This wasn't a one-time thing. This was a pattern. She checked the archives. Going back 1 week, then 2, then 3. There it was. Every other night. Sometimes twice in 1 week. For the past month, Prince William had been sneaking out of the palace, and no one knew. No one except her. Sarah saved the new footage. Deleted it from the main system. Again, she was in deep now. Too deep to turn back? On the third night, she made another decision. A worse one. She set up a secondary camera, a hidden one, pointed at the garden gate. Higher resolution. Night vision. Audio recording she told herself she needed to know. Needed to understand what William was doing. Where he was going? Who he was meeting? But really, she just needed to know if she had made the right choice. If protecting him was worth destroying everything she had worked for, The footage from the hidden camera was clear. Too clear, she could see William's face now. The exhaustion in his eyes. The weight he was carrying. He looked like a man running from something. Or toward something. And then, on the fourth night, she saw who he was meeting. A woman. Young. Maybe late 20s. Dark hair, simple clothes. No one Sarah recognized. No one from the palace. No one from the royal circle. They met in a small park 3 blocks away. The hidden camera couldn't reach that far, but Sarah had followed the trail on the city surveillance feeds. Feeds she technically wasn't supposed to access. Another rule broken. The woman hugged William. Long, tight, familiar. And when they pulled apart, Sarah saw something that changed everything. The woman was crying, and William was holding a small bundle in his arms. A baby. Sarah's hand started shaking. She stared at the screen. At the impossible scene playing out in front of her, Prince William, holding a baby, in the middle of the night, with a woman no one knew about. This wasn't just breaking protocol. This was a secret. A dangerous one. The kind of secret that could destroy reputations, end marriages, shatter the carefully constructed image of the royal family. And Sarah had it all on camera. Sarah sat frozen in her chair. The footage played on loop in her mind. William holding that baby. The woman's tears. The way they stood together in that dark park, like they were the only 2 people in the world. She should delete everything. Wipe the drives. Pretend she never saw it. But she couldn't move. Couldn't think. Couldn't breathe. This was bigger than a protocol violation. This was a family. A secret family. Sarah closed the surveillance windows. Her hands were still trembling. She needed to think. To figure out what this meant. What she was supposed to do. She went home that morning feeling sick. She didn't sleep. She just lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything she had seen. By the time her next shift started, she had made a decision. She would watch one more time. Just one more, to confirm what she saw. To make sure she wasn't imagining things. That stress and exhaustion hadn't made her see something that wasn't there. But that night, William didn't come. Or the night after that. Sarah waited. Watched. Nothing. Just empty hallways and silent gardens. Had he stopped? Had someone else discovered what he was doing? Had he been caught? 5 days passed. Sarah started to relax. Maybe it was over. Maybe whatever William had been doing, he had finished. Maybe she could just forget the whole thing and move on then. On the 6th night, her supervisor called her into his office. Daniel Price, head of palace security. 20 years of service. A man who never smiled, never joked, never bent the rules. "Sit down, Sarah," he said. She sat. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought he could hear it. Price opened a folder on his desk. He didn't look at her. "We've been running routine audits on the security footage. Standard procedure. Making sure all cameras are functioning properly. Making sure all recordings are complete." Sarah's throat went dry. "We found something interesting," Price continued. "Several gaps in the footage from camera 7. The garden entrance. Small gaps. A few minutes here, a few minutes there. All within the last month." He looked up. His eyes were cold. "Do you know anything about that?" Sarah's mind raced. She could lie. Say it was a technical glitch. Say she didn't notice. But Price wasn't stupid. He had been doing this job longer than she had been alive. "I can explain," she said quietly. "Please do." Sarah took a deep breath. She had 2 choices. Tell the truth and lose everything. Or lie and hope he believed her. She chose the truth. "Most of it. I saw Prince William leaving the palace late at night. Alone. No security. I thought maybe it was a private matter. Something sensitive. I didn't want to create an incident if it wasn't necessary." Price leaned back in his chair. "So you deleted the footage, yes? And you didn't report it?" "No." Price was quiet for a long moment. Then he closed the folder. "That was a serious breach of protocol, Sarah. You know that." "I know. Royals don't get privacy when it compromises security. They don't get to disappear in the middle of the night without someone knowing where they are. That's our job. That's why we're here. I understand. Do you? Price leaned forward. Because from where I'm sitting, you put your career on the line for someone who didn't ask you to. Someone who wouldn't do the same for you. Sarah didn't respond. Price sighed. I should fire you. Right now. But I'm not going to. Sarah looked up surprised. 'Cause I know why you did it, Price said. You thought you were protecting him? And maybe you were. But now you've put both of us in a difficult position. What do you mean? Price opened his desk drawer and pulled out a small USB drive. He slid it across the desk. The hidden camera you set up? The one you thought no one knew about. I found it 3 days ago. Sarah's blood ran cold. I watched the footage, Price said quietly. All of it. The woman. The baby. Everything. Sarah couldn't speak. So now we have a problem, Price continued. Because what you saw, what I saw, it's not just a security issue anymore. It's a royal scandal. And if it gets out, it won't just destroy William. It'll destroy the entire family. Asterisk. What do we do? Sarah whispered. Price stood up. He walked to the window and looked out at the palace grounds. We do our job. We protect the family. All of them, even from themselves. I don't understand. William is meeting with someone, Price said. Someone he clearly cares about. Someone he's willing to risk everything to see. We need to know who she is, what she wants, and whether she's a threat. You want me to investigate her? I want you to fix the mess you created, Price said sharply. You covered for him? You deleted evidence. You set up unauthorized surveillance. Now you're going to find out what's really going on. And you're going to do it quietly. Because if this blows up, we both go down. Sarah stood up slowly. And if I find out something bad, something that could hurt him, Price turned to face her. Then we make a choice. Just like you did when you deleted that footage. We decide whether protecting one person is worth sacrificing everything else. Sarah left the office with the USB drive in her pocket. She felt like she was carrying a bomb. That night, she went back through the footage. Frame by frame. Looking for details she had missed, clues about who the woman was, where she came from, what her connection to William really meant. She ran a facial. Recognition search, nothing. The woman wasn't in any government database. No criminal record. No public profile. She was a ghost. But ghosts leave traces. And Sarah was good at finding them. She tracked the woman's movements through city cameras. Followed her back to an apartment building in a quiet neighborhood. Nothing fancy. Nothing expensive. Just a normal building where normal people lived. Sarah pulled up property records. The apartment was registered to Emma Clark, age 28. Occupation: freelance photographer. No social media presence. No online footprint. Someone who clearly valued her privacy. Sarah stared at the name on the screen. Emma Clark. Who was she? And what did she mean to Prince William? There was only one way to find out, and Sarah knew it meant crossing another line. A line she might never be able to come back from. She grabbed her coat, and she went to find Emma Clark herself. Sarah stood outside the apartment building for 20 minutes, just watching, trying to convince herself this was the right thing to do, or at least not the worst thing. The building was old but well-maintained. Brick exterior, small balconies, the kind of place where people lived quiet lives, where no one asked too many questions. She had changed out of her uniform. Jeans and a jacket, hair down. Trying to look like anyone else? Just a woman visiting a friend. Nothing suspicious. She pressed the buzzer for apartment 4C. Emma Clark. No answer. She pressed it again. Longer this time, still nothing. Sarah was about to leave when the door clicked open. A young woman stood in the doorway, dark hair pulled back, tired eyes, wearing sweatpants and an oversized sweater. She was holding a baby on her hip, the same baby from the footage. "Can I help you?" Emma asked. Her voice was cautious, guarded. Sarah's mind went blank. She hadn't planned what to say. Hadn't thought past this moment. I'm sorry to bother you. My name is Sarah. I work in security. And I need to talk to you about Prince William. Emma's face went pale. The baby squirmed in her arms. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes. You do, Sarah said gently. I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm here to help. But I need you to be honest with me. Okay. Emma stared at her for a long moment. Then she glanced down the hallway. You shouldn't be here. I know. But I'm here anyway, please. Just 5 minutes. Emma hesitated. Then she stepped aside. Come in, quickly. The apartment was small but clean. Toys scattered on the floor. A bassinet in the corner. Photos on the walls, but none of William. Just Emma and the baby. A life carefully hidden from the world. Emma closed the door and locked it. She didn't sit down. She just stood there, holding the baby tight. How did you find me? I saw William leaving the palace, Sarah said. I followed him. On camera. I saw you two meeting. I saw him with the baby. Emma closed her eyes. Are you going to tell someone? That depends, Sarah said. On what this is, on what you want from him. I don't want anything from him, Emma said sharply. I never did. Then who is this baby? Sarah asked quietly. And why is Prince William sneaking out in the middle of the night to see her? Emma looked down at the baby in her arms. A little girl, maybe 6 months old. Big eyes, soft brown hair. She looked peaceful, unaware of the storm surrounding her existence. Her name is Lily, Emma said softly. And she's William's daughter. The words hit Sarah like a punch. She had suspected, but hearing it out loud made it real. Undeniable. Does anyone else know? Sarah asked. And now your boss, I assume? Sarah didn't correct her. How did this happen? Emma sat down on the couch. She looked exhausted, worn down by secrets and sleepless nights. We met 3 years ago. I was hired to photograph a charity event. William was there. We talked. It was brief. Nothing important. But it didn't stay brief. No, Emma admitted. He reached out a few months later, asked if I wanted to grab coffee. I said yes. I shouldn't have, but I did. And we just... ... connected. He wasn't a prince when we were together. He was just William. Just a person trying to figure out his life, and you fell in love. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Yes, but we both knew it couldn't last. He had a life, a wife, responsibilities. I wasn't part of that world. I could never be part of that world, so you ended it. You tried to, Emma said. But then I found out I was pregnant, and everything changed. Sarah sat down across from her. Did you tell him? Of course I told him. I wasn't going to hide it, but we both agreed it would be better if no one else knew. For Lily, for his family, for everyone, so he's been coming here. To see her, as often as he can, Emma said, which isn't much. A few hours every week. In the middle of the night when no one's watching. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to Lily, but it's all we have. Sarah looked at the baby. Lily was asleep now, her tiny hand curled against Emma's chest, innocent, unaware of the impossible situation she had been born into. What do you want to happen? Sarah asked. I want Lily to know her father, Emma said. I want her to grow up without secrets, but I also know that's impossible. If this gets out, it'll destroy his marriage, his reputation, everything he's built, and I can't do that to him. I won't. So you're just going to hide here forever? Let him sneak around like a criminal? What else can I do? Emma's voice cracked. I love him, and I love our daughter. But I'm not naive. I know how this ends. Eventually, he'll stop coming. He'll have to. And Lily and I will just be a secret he carries, a mistake he made. Sarah felt a pain in her chest. This wasn't a scandal. This wasn't a threat. This was just two people trying to do the right thing in an impossible situation. I'm not going to report this, Sarah said quietly. Emma looked up, surprised. Why not? Because I've seen enough, Sarah said. I've seen how much he cares about you. About her. And I don't think the world needs to know. Not yet. Not like this. But your boss. I'll handle my boss, Sarah said, though she had no idea how. But you need to understand something. This can't go on forever. Eventually, someone else will find out. Someone who won't be as understanding. And when that happens, you need to be ready.
Emma nodded slowly.
I know. Sarah stood up to leave. But as she reached the door, Emma called out, Sarah. She turned. Thank you, Emma said, for not judging us, for seeing us as people, not just a scandal. Sarah managed a small smile. Take care of her, and take care of yourself. She left the apartment and walked back into the cold night air. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. A text from Price. Report to my office. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. Sarah stared at the message. Tomorrow, she would have to tell him what she found, and she would have to decide. Protect Emma and Lily and William, or protect herself. She wasn't sure which choice was right anymore, but she knew one thing. Whatever happened next, there was no going back. Sarah didn't sleep that night. She sat at her kitchen table with a cup of coffee that went cold hours ago. The USB drive sat in front of her. All the evidence. All the secrets. One small piece of plastic that could change everything. She could destroy it. Smash it. Tell Price she found nothing. That Emma Clark was just a friend. That the baby was a coincidence. But Price wasn't stupid. He had already seen the footage. He knew the truth, or at least part of it. At 7:30, Sarah got dressed. She put on her uniform, clipped her badge to her belt, and she drove to the palace. Every mile felt heavier than the last. Price was already in his office when she arrived. He didn't look up when she walked in, just gestured to the chair. Sit, she sat. Asterisk. Tell me what you found, he said. Sarah took a deep breath. Her name is Emma Clark. She's 28, a photographer. She and William had a relationship 3 years ago. The baby is his daughter. Her name is Lily. She's 6 months old. Price's expression didn't change. Does anyone else know? No, just Emma, William, and now us. What does she want? Nothing, Sarah said. She's not asking for money, not threatening to go public. She just wants William to be part of Lily's life, but she knows that's impossible. So she's accepted the situation. She's keeping quiet. Price leaned back in his chair. He was silent for a long time. Then he said, This is a problem. I know. This gets out, it destroys everything. The marriage, the family, the public trust. William would be forced to step back from royal duties. Maybe permanently? I know, Sarah said again. But if we keep it quiet, we're complicit. We're covering up something that the public has a right to know. Something that affects the future of the monarchy. Sarah didn't respond. There was nothing to say. He was right. Price stood up and walked to the window. I've been doing this job for 20 years. I've seen scandals, affairs, betrayals, things that would shock the world if they ever got out. And every time I've had to make a choice. Protect the family or protect the truth. What did you choose? Sarah asked quietly. The family, Price said. Every time. Because that's the job. That's what we're here for. To keep the machine running. To make sure the crown stays on the head, no matter how heavy it gets. He turned to face her. But this is different. This isn't just an affair. This is a child. A little girl who didn't ask to be born into this mess, and she deserves better than being a secret. So what do we do? Sarah asked. Price walked back to his desk and sat down. We do nothing. Sarah blinked.
What?
We do nothing, Price repeated. We delete the footage. We forget this conversation. We let William handle it his way. You just said, I know what I said. Price's voice was firm. But I also know that if we interfere, we make it worse. William is trying to do the right thing. He's trying to be a father. In secret, yes, but he's trying. And maybe that's enough. And if someone else finds out? Sarah asked. Then we deal with it when it happens, Price said. But until then, we stay silent. We protect him. Not because he's a prince, but because he's a father trying to see his daughter. Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. But it was mixed with doubt. Are you sure about this? Price looked at her with tired eyes. No, but I'm sure that exposing this now won't help anyone. It'll just destroy lives. And I'm not ready to do that. Not yet. He opened his desk drawer and pulled out the hidden camera. I'm going to destroy this. And you're going to delete every copy of the footage you have. Understood? Understood. Good. Price stood up. Now get back to work. And Sarah? She stopped at the door. Don't make me regret this decision. Sarah left the office feeling like she had just made a deal with the devil. Or maybe an angel. She wasn't sure which. Over the next few weeks, Sarah watched Camera 7 every night. William continued his visits. Same pattern. Same careful movements. But now when she saw him on screen, she didn't see a rule breaker. She saw a father, a man trying to hold together two worlds that could never coexist. She started to wonder how long he could keep this up. How long before the weight of the secret crushed him? How long before he had to choose between his public life and his private one? One night, 2 months after her conversation with Price, something changed. William appeared on Camera 7, but this time, he wasn't alone. Someone was following him. A man, average height, dark coat, keeping his distance, but clearly tracking William's movements. Sarah's heart jumped. She zoomed in on the man's face. She didn't recognize him, but she recognized the camera hanging around his neck. A photographer. She grabbed her radio. Security breach. Garden entrance. Possible paparazzi. I need a unit there now. 2 guards responded within seconds. They intercepted the man before he could follow William out of the palace grounds. Sarah watched on camera as they escorted him away. He didn't resist. Just smiled. Like he had already gotten what he came for. Sarah pulled up the footage from earlier in the evening. Rewound it. Watched the man arrive. Watched him position himself near the garden gate. Watched him take photos. Lots of photos. Her stomach sank. He had been there for at least an hour, which meant he had pictures of William leaving. Pictures of the route he took. Maybe even pictures of where he went. This wasn't random. This was targeted. Someone had tipped him off. Sarah called Price. We have a problem. He arrived at the monitoring room within minutes. She showed him the footage. The photographer, the photos. The timing. Price's face went dark. Who is he? Sarah pulled up the man's information from the security database. Martin Webb. Freelance photographer. Works for tabloids. Specializes in royal scandals. How did he know William would be there? Someone told him, Sarah said. Someone inside. Price cursed under his breath. Get me everything on Webb. Every photo he's taken in the last month. Every client he's worked for. I want to know who hired him. Sarah worked through the night. She pulled phone records. Financial transactions. Social media activity. And slowly, a picture emerged. Martin Webb had been paid £50,000 3 days ago. A wire transfer from an offshore account. Untraceable. But the timing matched. Someone had hired him to follow William. And whoever it was, they knew about Emma and Lily. The secret was out. Or at least, it was about to be. Sarah printed the evidence and brought it to Price. He read through it in silence. His jaw clenched tighter with every page. We need to warn William, Sarah said. It's too late for that, Price said quietly. Webb already has the photos. And by tomorrow morning, they'll be on every tabloid in London. So what do we do? Price looked at her with eyes that had seen too much. We prepare for the storm. The story broke at 6 a.m. Sarah saw it on her phone before she even got out of bed. The headline was everywhere. Every news site. Every tabloid. Every social media platform. Prince William's secret love child. Exclusive photos reveal royal scandal. Below it were the photos. William entering the park? William with Emma. William holding Lily. Every private moment captured and displayed for the world to see. Sarah felt sick. She had tried to protect them. She had tried to keep the secret. But it hadn't been enough. By 7 a.m., the palace was in chaos. Phones ringing non-stop. Reporters camped outside the gates. Cameras everywhere. The royal family had issued no statement. No denial, no confirmation. Just silence. Sarah reported for duty like she was walking into a war zone. The atmosphere inside the palace was suffocating. Staff members whispered in corners. Guards exchanged worried glances. Everyone knew. Everyone had seen the photos. Price called her into his office at 8. He looked like he hadn't slept. William wants to see you. Sarah's blood ran cold. Why? Because you're the one who found out first, Price said. And he knows it. He wants to know why you didn't stop this. Tried, I know, Price interrupted. But he's angry and scared and looking for someone to blame. So you're going to go in there. You're going to take whatever he throws at you. And you're going to remember that he's not angry at you. He's angry at the situation, Sarah nodded. Her hands were shaking. She was escorted to a private sitting room on the second floor. The same kind of room where secrets were supposed to stay hidden. William was standing by the window, his back to the door. His shoulders tense. The guard who brought her left immediately. The door closed. And Sarah was alone with a prince whose life she had failed to protect. You knew, William said, without turning around. His voice was quiet, controlled. But underneath there was rage. Yes, Your Highness, how long? 2 months. William turned to face her. He looked exhausted. His eyes were red. His face was drawn, and you said nothing. I was trying to protect you, Sarah said carefully. I thought if we kept it quiet, you could handle it on your own terms. My own terms? William's voice rose. My own terms would have been never having this come out at all. My own terms would have been keeping my daughter safe from this madness. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this, William snapped. Sorry doesn't erase those photos. Sorry doesn't protect Emma and Lily from what's coming. Sarah lowered her head. He was right. She had failed. William walked to the couch and sat down heavily. He buried his face in his hands. Do you know what the worst part is? Sarah didn't answer. The worst part is that I thought I was protecting them, William said. I thought by keeping them hidden, by keeping them separate from this world, I was giving them a better life. But all I did was make them vulnerable. I made them targets. You were trying to do the right thing, Sarah said quietly. Was I? William looked up. Or was I just being selfish? Wanting to have both worlds? The life I'm supposed to live, and the life I actually want. Sarah took a step closer. You're a father. You wanted to be there for your daughter? That's not selfish. That's human. I'm not allowed to be human, William said bitterly. I'm a prince. I have responsibilities, obligations, and I broke every single one of them the moment I fell in love with someone I wasn't supposed to. What are you going to do now? Sarah asked. William stood up. He walked back to the window and stared out at the reporters swarming the gates. I'm going to tell the truth. All of it. I'm going to admit that Lily is my daughter, that Emma and I were in a relationship, and I'm going to face the consequences. Your wife already knows, William said. I told her this morning. Before the story broke, she's devastated, furious, and she has every right to be. I'm sorry, Sarah said again, knowing it meant nothing. So am I. William turned to face her one last time. You're dismissed. I don't want to see you again. Sarah felt the words like a physical blow, but she nodded. She walked to the door. Her hand was on the handle when William spoke again. Sarah. Asterisk, she stopped. Thank you, he said quietly, for trying. Even if it didn't work? Sarah left the room. Her eyes were burning, but she didn't let herself cry. Not yet, not here. She went straight to Price's office. He was on the phone, barking orders. When he saw her, he hung up. How did it go? He fired me, Sarah said flatly. He can't fire you, You don't work for him directly. He doesn't want me here, Sarah said. And honestly, I don't want to be here either. Price studied her for a moment. Then he nodded. Take a few days. Clear your head. We'll figure out what comes next. But Sarah knew. There was no next for her here. She had crossed too many lines, broken too many rules, and even though she had tried to do the right thing, it hadn't mattered. The next morning, Prince William held a press conference. The palace had tried to talk him out of it, but he insisted. Sarah watched it on TV from her apartment. William stood at a podium, cameras flashing. He looked calm, composed, but she could see the pain in his eyes. I want to address the recent reports about my personal life, he began. The photos you've seen are real. Lily is my daughter. Emma Clark and I had a relationship 3 years ago, and I have been visiting them in secret because I wanted to be part of my daughter's life. The reporters erupted with questions. William held up a hand. I know I've made mistakes, he continued. I've broken trust with my family, with my wife, with the public, and I take full responsibility for that. But I want to make one thing clear. Lily is innocent. Emma is innocent. They didn't ask for this, and they don't deserve to be hounded by cameras and judgment. He paused, took a breath. I'm stepping back from my royal duties for the next 6 months. I need time to be with my family, all of them, to figure out how to move forward, to earn back the trust I've lost. Sarah felt tears running down her face. She didn't bother wiping them away. William finished his statement and walked off the stage. No more questions. No more explanations. Just the truth, raw and painful and real. That afternoon, Sarah received an email. From Emma, it was short, simple. Thank you for trying to protect us. We don't blame you, and neither does William, even if he can't say it yet. Take care of yourself. Sarah read it 3 times. Then she closed her laptop and finally let herself break down. She had done everything she could, and it still hadn't been enough. But maybe, just maybe, it had been something. 3 months later, Sarah sat in a small cafe in Brighton. Far from London, far from the palace, far from everything that had happened, she was working as a private security consultant now. Smaller clients, quieter jobs, no royals, no secrets, no impossible choices. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Can we talk? Emma. Sarah stared at the message for a long time. Then she typed back. When? They met the next day, same cafe. Emma arrived with Lily in a stroller. The baby was bigger now. 8 months old, smiling, happy, unaware of the storm that had surrounded her birth. Emma sat down across from Sarah. She looked different, calmer, less afraid. Thank you for meeting me, of course, Sarah said. How are you? Better, Emma said. It's been hard. The press was brutal for a while, but it's dying down now. People are moving on to the next scandal, and William. Emma smiled sadly. He's trying. He comes to see Lily every week now, openly, no more sneaking around. His wife is filing for divorce. It's messy, but at least it's honest. I'm sorry, Sarah said. Don't be, Emma said. We all made choices. Some good, some bad. But we made them. And now we're living with the consequences. Sarah asked. Emma reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope. She slid it across the table. William asked me to give you this. He couldn't reach out himself. Too many people watching, but he wanted you to know. Sarah opened the envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter. William's handwriting. She recognized it from documents she had seen at the palace. The letter was short. Sarah, I'm sorry for how I treated you. You were trying to protect us, and I blamed you for something that was never your fault. The truth is, this was always going to come out. Secrets like this don't stay hidden forever. But because of you, we had time. Time to prepare. Time to be together before the world found out. And that time mattered. Thank you. Sarah folded the letter carefully. Her throat was tight. Tell him thank you. I will. Ma paused. There's something else. Something I wanted to ask you. When Lily gets older, when she starts asking questions about how all this happened, about who knew and who tried to help, I want to tell her about you. About how you tried to protect us, even when it cost you everything. Sarah felt tears prickling her eyes. You don't have to do that. Yes, I do, Emma said firmly, because the truth matters. And the truth is that you were the only person who saw us as people, not as a scandal, not as a problem. Just as people trying to do the right thing in an impossible situation. Sarah looked at Lily. The baby was playing with a toy, giggling to herself. Completely innocent, completely pure. She's lucky to have you. She's lucky to have a father who loves her enough to risk everything, Emma said. And she's lucky that there are still people in the world like you. People who choose compassion over duty, even when it's hard. They talked for another hour. About life. About healing. About moving forward. When they finally said goodbye, Sarah felt something she hadn't felt in months. Peace. She walked along the beach that evening. The sun was setting. The water was calm. And for the first time since that night, she saw William on camera 7. She felt like she could breathe again. Her phone buzzed. A text from Price. I heard you're doing well. Good. You deserve it. And for what it's worth, I think you made the right call, even if it didn't feel like it at the time. Sarah smiled. She typed back. Thanks. That means a lot. She put her phone away and kept walking. The past 3 months had been brutal. She had lost her job, her reputation, her sense of purpose, but she had gained something too. She had learned that sometimes doing the right thing doesn't mean following the rules. Sometimes it means breaking them. For the right reasons, for the right people. 6 months after the scandal broke, Prince William returned to his royal duties. But he was different. More grounded. More human. He spoke openly about his mistakes. About his daughter. About the importance of being honest, even when it's painful. In every interview he gave, every speech he made carried the same message. That people are complicated. That families are messy. That love doesn't always follow the rules. But it's worth fighting for anyway. Sarah watched one of his speeches on TV. He didn't mention her by name, but she could hear it in his words. The gratitude. The understanding. The acknowledgement that someone had tried to help, even when it seemed impossible. A year later, Sarah received a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was a small photo frame. The photo showed William, Emma, and Lily together, all smiling, happy, real. On the back, written in William's handwriting, were 4 words. Thank you. We're okay. Sarah placed the frame on her shelf. Next to her old palace ID badge, 2 pieces of a life she had left behind, but also 2 pieces of a story she would carry with her forever, because she had learned something important, something that would shape every choice she made going forward. That sometimes, people who break the rules are the ones worth protecting. Not because they're perfect, but because they're trying to be better, trying to love, trying to do right by the people who matter most. And sometimes, that's enough. Sarah stood by her window that night, looking out at the city lights. She thought about the guard she used to be, standing rigid, following orders, never questioning, never stepping out of line. And she thought about the person she had become. Someone who chose compassion over protocol. Someone who risked everything for people she barely knew. Someone who understood that real security isn't about keeping secrets. It's about protecting the truth even when it's dangerous. She didn't regret her choices. Not anymore. Because in the end, she had done what she set out to do. She had protected them. Not from the scandal. Not from the consequences. But from being alone. From facing it all without someone on their side. And that, she realized, was worth everything she had lost. The camera had caught William breaking the rules. But Sarah had caught something more important. She had caught a glimpse of what it means to be human, to love, to struggle, to try, and sometimes that's the most important thing you can see.